First off, let's talk about Bitcoin here, and then we're going to switch gears over to Litecoin, talk about the halving that just occurred. But Bitcoin here, as I'm sure all of you know, has had a pretty great last 24 hours or so. We managed to break resistance at 11,000 and pretty much test up to the top end of this channel and get stopped out about 12,000. I've talked in previous videos how this is pretty much a tale of, we both have this ascending trend line, which has not broken in quite some time now, but we also have this descending channel, which is getting carved out. In fact, where we got stopped out is about perfect for continuing to define the upper end of this channel. And basically, what's going to happen next, bull scenario. If we can get some support without getting completely rejected here, if we don't get knocked back down below these levels, then we could get a little bit of support and hold right here until we're able to break through and push up. And that'd be the bull scenario that would bring us, there's not a lot of resistance between here and basically the recent highs around 13.5, which is also the 0.618 Fibonacci retracement level. So yeah, watch for, if we have a solid break basically above 12,000, we're probably going to run up to there pretty quickly. If we get rejected and start pushing back down, we do have a lot of support layers to get through. We've got 11,000, I think will be the first major one. We've got this layer we had to break through to get up, the between 10.2 and 10.4. And then we've got a ascending trend line, which, again, it hasn't broken in a while. If we see a break there, it could mean a bearish turn in the momentum of the market in general. We still have a ways to go to get back down there, but watch for that. And then if we do have a breakdown below that, and probably it'll break down below this 0.382, which is about 9,500, then we'll probably see an inevitable test down to the lower end of this channel. Not a guarantee, but that would be the more bearish scenario, and that would mean, again, a larger shift in momentum of the market. Right now, the market's very bullish, obviously. Check out my colleague Will's recent video about that and some of the reasons why. Overall, I'd say my gut is that we're probably going to eventually break out of this channel to the top. It might not happen just yet, but if it doesn't happen now, we could see sort of a wedge forming in here until it eventually does kick out. So watch for that. Watch for a solid break above 12 or a breakdown below this trend line, which would probably happen around 10,000 once we get back there. So that's about that for Bitcoin. Now let's shift over to Litecoin and talk about that halving that just occurred. Okay, here's Litecoin on the 4-hour. And here's pretty much the halving from the last day or so. You can see where we had a little bit of a spike, and we pretty much lost it all. We're back to about where we started. Really, this movement wasn't that significant against a lot of the action we've seen lately. It's just kind of a little hiccup. So I guess the question again there is why? Why didn't we see more happen when the Litecoin halving occurred? Well, my colleague Will, again, had another video recently where he delved into this, and you can look into that for some of the more complex theories as to why Litecoin acts differently than Bitcoin, and also just a little bit of into what a halving really is. But for me, we're going to stick to technical analysis and some historical action. So let's zoom out to a larger time frame, the daily and the logarithmic scale, and see what happened to Litecoin last time we had a halving event. So here we're looking at Litecoin. Now we've zoomed out, and this is on a logarithmic scale. I've done things like this with Bitcoin fairly recently, talking about just basically how there's this ascending trend line that the coin feels comfortable returning to, the price action. So you can see this is basically the last market cycle, and this is where we're at now. Here I've denoted where the previous Litecoin halving occurred back in late August of 2015. And so yeah, so here's the whole previous market cycle. We see a bit of a run up in anticipation of the halving, consolidation, and then after the halving, kind of a sideways meander back to this trend line. So then we start a new cycle. We can spend quite a lot of time away from this trend line, but we do like to return to it. And then we spent kind of a short crypto winter, and then again, a prolonged build up in anticipation of the halving, some consolidation, and then the halving occurred right here. So basically, based on historical action, and again, when I spoke about Bitcoin, I talked about this, how probably the healthiest thing for the price would be kind of a meandering sideways, just going back to this trend line. And then we could start seeing some ascension along it. That would be the least volatile, and it would fit nicely with what happened last time. Last time it took about 2 years for us to get back there. You know, we're not as far away from this trend line. I don't see it taking nearly as long. Probably early to mid next year, somewhere in there. Of course, there are at least two other possibilities, and much more. If there were some kind of market crash, we could have a much quicker return to this line, which would then start rising. That would see us probably testing down into like the 60 range for Litecoin. If there was something particularly negative in the market, that could happen. Or we could see a larger bull run followed by consolidation. Again, I wouldn't say it's as likely or as healthy, but it's certainly on the table. If we were to see the more bullish scenario where we break the recent highs, this could occur. But yeah, for my money, I think the safest bet is sort of a sideways. Not that we couldn't have some volatility, but if it's like the last cycle, relatively low volatility, at least until we touch back on this trend line. Again, watch what Bitcoin does too. Obviously, that's going to affect the market as a whole. But yeah, that's kind of my 2 cents on. And as for why this happens, basically it's already priced in. Why we didn't see more of a move last time, why we didn't see more of a move this time after the halving, is that it's already priced in. People knew it was coming. The same thing happened here. It's not like a surprise event. So if anything, I would say look for lower volatility in Litecoin in the coming weeks and months. Is actually probably the best thing you could hope for it. And once again, that'll do it for me. As I'm always saying, this is not investment advice. This is just my personal opinion. Do your own research, make your own decisions. Until next time, don't forget to like and subscribe below. Good luck with those trades.